Hello, massage nerds. I wanted to tell you about my new and exciting partnership with Lacuna Botanicals. I know most of you have seen my tools video, and if you haven't, go check it out because you'll find out that my number one tool is the Lacuna Botanicals Deep Tissue Massage Cream. So I'm excited that I got to interview the CEO from Lacuna Botanicals, Chris Díaz. You'll find out everything you need to know about the difference between THC and CBD, and it comes from the cannabis plant, and the difference between marijuana and hemp. And it's really an exciting and nice video, so stay tuned. Today, I have a very special treat for you guys, and I'm so excited. We have from Lacuna Botanicals CEO Chris Díaz in Colorado. Welcome, Chris, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you, Maria. It's a pleasure.
Having pain already after being a massage therapist for so long, I was already starting to have pain in my hands. And a good friend and client of mine, who has a home also in Colorado, came back from Colorado and told me, here, you've got to try this. It took my pain away that I've had for 2 years, and this is the only thing that has taken that pain away. And I tried it, and it's like, wow, after using it, my hands really started to feel better. And then I started using it with my clients, which got great results from rotator cuff problems and tennis elbow and golfer's elbow and knee problems and foot problems and back problems. And it's like, wait a minute, I need to look more into this. And that's how I found out about you, Chris. That's when I, got in touch with you, and it's been fantastic. I don't know enough about it, and this is why it's such a pleasure for you to take the time to explain to us. So are you able to give us a little bit more explanation of how to use the deep tissue for massage?
Sure. Yeah. So deep tissue is an interesting product. It was the first one that we developed for market. And our company, there was 3 of us who were the founders, and one of them is a massage therapist. He was practicing one for a very long time, maybe 20 years or so. And he's a pretty interesting guy. He's spent a lot of time in Mexico, kind of living with the Indians and people who were there, and learned a good amount about essential oils. And he had some that he thought were really great. And then also, my other co-founder, he's very big into essential oils and knows a lot about those as well. So kind of those 2 really spearheaded the idea behind the original formulation. But the idea was fairly simple. The idea was, let me take, all the good essential oils that I can find that are targeted for anti-pain and anti-inflammation, and let's go attack pain and inflammation for people. And so, we always like to tell people, Lacuna, our philosophy is not to take just a simple lotion and throw CBD in it and call it good. It's instead to look at the broad spectrum of lots of botanicals, because there's all kinds of good essential oils out there that are very effective for pain and inflammation. But people in general are not familiar with those because they're not sold at like a drugstore or a grocery store where they normally buy their pain meds, right? So, and just having the knowledge of which ones work together and which ones are going to be effective and which situations they're used for, that's just outside of the scope of most people. It's just they don't have time for it. So the goal of deep tissue was, let's do 2 things. Let's find all the really good essential oils that are going to be the base of this product. Let's make it suitable for massage because we saw a definite need in that world. And then also let's use kind of a new exciting botanical, which is hemp and CBD, that are just now. At the time, it was around 2014, they put the first farm bill out, and that was the first time we were able to, farmers were growing hemp again in close to a century. So now we had this botanical that we've had forever, but then we lost about it. We forgot about it. We quit using it as a civilization for about 100 years. This is the jar of deep tissue that we were talking about that has all the nice essential oils, and the way that the massage therapists use it, it's like a little pump, and you just kind of put a little cream out and wipe it off and massage it in. And even a little bit like that it can do a lot. But obviously when you're getting a full body massage, you're going to use more than that.
Is that the one for 500 milligrams? And you told me recently you're coming out now with 1,000 milligrams?
Yeah, we have three different ones, just really kind of depending on your pain levels and how you're using it. So the deep tissue, the original one was 200 milligrams for the little jar that I showed you there.
Right. That's the one I started with.
Yeah, it's a little bit less than 2 ounces. And for something like a full body massage, you're going to use a good half the jar. And so if you do that, you're putting half of that 200 milligrams, into the massage, and your client's getting that. And that'll really help for a wide range of pain and inflammation. Your client's going to be feeling pretty good after that. But we saw that there was also a need for more targeted applications. So instead of a full body massage, if somebody comes in and says, look, I just have a really bad problem in my lower back or in my shoulders or something like that, and then you wanted to be able to put higher concentrations into smaller areas, that's why we created the higher strength one. So aside from the 200 milligram, the classic one, we have an extra strength one, which is 500 milligrams, and then kind of like our maximum strength one, which is 1,000 milligrams.
Wow. I'm excited to try that one because I haven't gotten that one yet.
I'll have to ship you a jar. We've shared it with quite a few of our kind of local spas and massage therapists that are our test pilots, and they've all had really good success with it, and their clients are loving it. And it seems to be really effective. So I'm sure there's an upwards limit of, can I put 5,000? Can I put 10,000 milligrams? I mean, you can put as much as you want, but pretty soon it doesn't quite work that way. It's one of those things where it'll work up to a point, and if your body doesn't really need it, you're just going to flush it out, pee it out.
Right.
So, I know that CBD is a very new thing for most people, and that there's not a lot of good information out there about CBD. That's why I wanted you to explain to us about the concepts around CBD and what people should know about CBD, because I tell you, I have a lot of clients that are hesitant to use it, especially athletes or military people. They're not sure that they want to use it, or people that work, because we have Fort Bliss here, and they tell me, well, they're not sure. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how I can present this to clients so they can feel safe using the CBD?
Sure. So I guess we grow it here. So I wanted to let's make people feel less threatened. It's not some horrible synthetic thing. It's a really kind of a pretty little plant. And this is from our field. It's getting close to planting season here. And wanted people just to kind of see it. It's just a plant.
Wow, I know, I've seen them, and they're just beautiful, just the fact that you're planting something and growing it from seed and giving it life and taking care of it and watering it and nurturing it. To me, that's fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you showing us that.
It is. They're really incredible little plants. And, the thing is, I'll give you just a tiny bit of history on that, because I think it's kind of fascinating. It's sad, and when you really understand it, it'll probably make you a little bit frustrated and angry. It did me for sure. So the thing is, the cannabis plant has been used by civilizations across the world for thousands and thousands of years. The research that I've done points to at least something like 12,000 years. The history of this plant goes back, that civilization's been using it. It's a long time, right?
That's impressive.
So to even give a little context, what is, 12,000 obviously sounds like a lot of years, but recorded written history, the us writing down things is only 6,000 years old. So we're talking 6,000 years before that, where they're finding burial grounds and things like that, where the plant is there, and the seeds are there, and the cave paintings are there that show the plant. And clearly it's been used for medicinal purposes as well as food and other fabrics. There's a tremendous history that goes along with the plant.
Right. Yeah, I read an article recently, because I was doing a little bit of research myself, and I read that the Egyptians used to use it, that it's been shown that the Egyptians harvested and used it. So I was really excited. I don't understand why we've been so afraid of this plant for so long. So that's why I wanted you to explain to us maybe some of the process that you all have done, and how you make these products and create these products.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so the last part about the history, and you brought it up, because right now CBD is becoming a very hot topic. People are interested in it, and hemp. The benefits that they're seeing and they're hearing about from their friends who are trying it and experiencing the benefits firsthand. The key is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to throw my 2 cents in. And I was just going to say, yeah, it's nothing like the brownies that I used to have when I was young. Oh, that's a different thing. That's something else.
We'll get to those in a second when we start talking about cannabinoids. There's all of the above, right? And so the thing is, we had this plant for thousands of years, and I like to tell people, I think that humanity is great at making perfect decisions every time. But unfortunately, we do it by process of elimination, and we make some missteps along the way. Make a bad decision, another bad one, until we get it right. So this is a pretty good example of that, where we've used the plant for thousands of years. And then around the 1930s, at least in the US, but it was a similar time around the world, where people decided, well, it's not good. And there's lots of conspiracy theories about why that is. And I don't want to get into that per se. But the fact remains that around the 1930s and 40s, that's when we decided that we're going to really make it difficult for people to have access to this plant. And so people stopped using it for medicine. They stopped using it for textiles. They stopped using it for all the things they had been using it for forever. And then you have several generations of those people, and you get 80, 90 years down the road, they pretty much forgot about it. And the only thing they've heard about it is, yeah, it's bad, right? And if you take it, you're going to be a loser, like your stoner friend in high school that amounted to nothing with his life. So that was the stigma that was created. Various propaganda movies and all the stuff that went along with that. But now we're in a little bit different time. The only reason the propaganda movies worked back in that time was because there was limited forms of communication. It was very tight access to who had any kind of media. And now you've got YouTube, and you've got social media, and you've got all of these ways for people to talk and share ideas that I think are causing it to come full circle, and people are looking at it and saying, wow, okay, let's tell me about it. What's your experience? And that's kind of what's going on with our discussion right now, right, is sharing some of the benefits and the ideas. So from the plant, we got the plant. This is the starting point, right? And in this case, we focus only on the female plants. So the female plants, when they flower, they make a little flower on there, and that flower contains an oil. And that oil is what contains what are called cannabinoids. And those are all of the components that people are interested in for health benefits, or like in your case where you were talking about the brownies, if you want to have a fun experience with brownies or cookies or whatever you want to make, you could, that's a cannabinoid, is THC. People now are starting to hear a lot more about CBD. That's another cannabinoid. But there is many, many, many others, hundreds, and we don't know a lot about all of them yet.
I have a question, Chris. Can you, because really, I really don't know much about this. I've learned a lot from you, so thank you. You've explained to me several times, but for those people that don't know, can you explain to us the difference between the cannabis, marijuana, and CBD? Like, what's the difference? How can we explain to our clients what the difference is so they don't feel threatened or they feel like they're doing something wrong? Because I know as massage therapists, we don't want to do anything wrong. We want to make sure that we're helping our clients and not using something that is illegal.
Yeah, sure. So, okay, yeah, no, that's a great question. So I get that all the time. What's the difference between cannabis versus marijuana versus hemp? Let's start there. So exactly, my friend here, the plant, she's a cannabis plant. And whether it's marijuana or hemp, they're all forms of cannabis. And so the only real difference, the way it stands today, is based on your specific country. In the US, we've defined it to say, if the flowers contain less than 0.3% THC, then it's considered hemp, and it's just an agricultural product like corn or potatoes or anything like that. Recently, at the end of last year, December 2018, we passed a new agricultural bill called the Farm Bill, typically. And what that did is it descheduled it, so it made it where it was no longer a controlled substance. So a lot of legal gray area used to exist prior to that, where you had, on the one hand, it was okay to grow it and farm it, but then also you had another hand that it was still considered a controlled substance. And that caused a lot of legal gray and confusion. And luckily, the new Farm Bill, I think, went a long way to clearing that up. But still, people are confused. And so, it depends on your individual state or where you live, the specific rules. But typically, if it's no THC, you're not going to have a problem. If it's less than 0.3% THC, it's also still fine. But that's something that people are just kind of getting their head around. They're just understanding that now. So if it's anything above 0.3% THC, then you're making brownies out of it. If it's something below 0.3%, then you're either going for CBD, or also very exciting is all the utility for the more industrial applications. Like I want to make rope or cordage or canvas or plastics, concrete. I mean, using it for building materials, the sky's the limit.
Wow.
And the thing I like to tell people about that is, consider this. The full life cycle, that plant grows from maturity in 12 weeks. A tree takes about 20 years. So the benefits, I'm not saying the trees are bad by any means. They're awesome. The more trees, the better. But we also have a really great new ally if we start planting a ton of hemp out there, because it's going to do a lot of the same thing. It consumes all the CO2 we don't want, and kicks out a lot of oxygen we do want, and it's just a great little product. I don't want to go too far down the industrial applications, but they're exciting. But let's jump back to cannabinoids, because that's kind of what we're talking about when we talk about massage, right? So going back to that definition, if it's less than 0.3%, you can have the extracted oil from the plant, and I have a jar of it here, and I wanted people to show. So you'll hear a lot of times people talk about full spectrum oil. So it's very thick, kind of a
Yeah, that does look really thick.
almost like molasses. It smells very interesting. It doesn't quite smell like you would think it was. It doesn't have the kind of classic, cannabis or marijuana kind of skunky smell. It's more earthy than that, and there's some more other smells in there too. And then within that oil, there are little crystals of various different types of cannabinoids, like we talked about. There's THC and so on, and there's CBD. And so I wanted to I brought a little jar of pure CBD crystals. That's what those look like. You can kind of see that. This looks sort of like maybe like powdered sugar.
Wow. Well, thank you for showing us. That is a real treat to be able to see it live and to be able to see what it looks like, the plant and the oil. That's very exciting to me. So thank you for showing us all that.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the main things that I like to do with people is demystify it, right? Because if it's just a word and you've been told it's bad, but then you see it and you're like, that doesn't look so bad. Then it takes a lot of the confusion and just the unfamiliarity away, right? Okay, so with those in mind, THC, that's the one that is psychoactive and can make you high. CBD is non-psychoactive, but is very widely studied, and more research is being done all the time that it's beneficial for a wide range of things. Things like pain and inflammation, things like stress and anxiety, sleep. So the reason that is, we've done, not we, but research was done in the mid-90s, where they said, CBD, there's a whole system of receptors in the human body and in other mammals as well. And I think they even have it I read the other day something like birds and reptiles. I don't know about that. I'll leave that to the other researchers to do that. But certainly with humans, the endocannabinoid system exists, and it controls a lot of systems in the body. Like I said, sleep response, cognitive response, pain and inflammation response. And so by providing CBD to your body, that system wakes up and it does its thing, right? And in fact, people don't know it, but your body actually makes its own CBD. But obviously you can give it a little bit extra, and it can perform better for you in many cases. So that was the goal: is can we take the good essential oils with deep tissue and combine it with the benefits that we've seen with CBD and create a whole new class of life tool that is practical. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend hours like playing mad scientist and trying to mix up essential oils. Instead, we just wanted a simple little massage cream that we could give to people that was very good for pain and inflammation and just making them feel better. But then also, help out the massage therapists along the way.
Exactly, and I think that was what really got me interested, is that I saw that while I was working on my clients, it was not just benefiting them, but it was also benefiting me to be able to extend my life as a massage therapist.
Yeah.
So that's why I got so excited about it, and I remember, this was 6 months ago, Chris. I mean, I bought 10 jars from you, and I remember I sold it like within the first month, and then I called you back. It's like, I need more, and now I need more. Now that it's, now that I'm on YouTube and I have all these viewers, they're emailing me and texting me. And so my next question to you is, are you able to ship around the world? Are you able to fulfill some of these orders around the world?
Yeah, we're doing it. It's kind of a case by case basis because the world has a different set of rules depending on the country that you're dealing with.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble.
No, it's one of those things where you just got to kind of know the rules of where you're at, or wait for a little bit and you'll see it probably open up. So we're seeing basically every country. Canada, I give a lot of credit. They were very forward thinking, and as a country, they went full recreational. It's legal. So that's great. And I see the U.S. is, state by state becoming more and more open, and it's going to continue that way. It's inevitable at this point. So yeah, if you're in another country and you're interested in it, feel free to talk to Maria, and I'm sure she'll reach out and tell me about it.
Thank you. Yes, and I'll just refer them back to you, Chris. But no, I thank you for all the explanations, and it makes me feel a lot better. And I'm hoping that we're helping our viewers, and that people, like you say, we want to demystify all of this.
It was always very important to us to have the highest quality ingredients. So we spend a lot of time sourcing our essential oils and our other botanicals, but in the case of the hemp, we wanted to grow our own. We wanted to make sure that we were picking the absolute best that we could lay our hands on and care for it and nurture it and make it the highest quality possible. So that's where we're at right now. This is our second year now of growing it, and we're excited about that because, like I said, in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks is when we're going to be putting it into the ground. We're preparing the field now and the plants and getting them ready, but they'll go in soon.
So you've turned into a farmer, huh?
But a farmer. I certainly didn't start out like one, but we're learning, and we're fortunate. Our team has grown over the years, and so now we have a really excellent farmer who's had a lot of experience with it, and he's a good grower.
Wonderful.
It's interesting. People, when we talk about farming, it conjures up an idea of what a farmer does, right? It's you go out and you prepare the field and till it, and then you throw seeds in the ground, and then you water it and care for it, and maybe add some nutrients here and there, and then there's your crop. But these are quite a bit different. It's a lot more like large scale horticulture, wherein you don't use seeds. You don't throw. You can, but the thing is, you're always looking for the female plants because those are the ones that make the flowers with the cannabinoids in them. Instead of putting seeds down, what we use is clones. So they're just like you would do at home if you have a mint or a basil or something like that, and you take a clipping and start a new plant. Those are clones.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. That's really very interesting.
Yeah, they're fun, and so you wind up doing thousands of those, and instead of just putting them straight into the field, at least the way we do it is we take an auger and drill out a big hole so that it has nice earth, and we put really good high quality organic soil into it so that the plant can put out its roots and really thrive.
Wow, there's magic in that, Chris, and what you're doing. I believe that anytime you take care, of something like that for a long time, it's just magic. Life, to me, life is magic. So what you're doing is fantastic, Chris. I really, thank you for taking the time to share with us, share your knowledge and educate us. And the best of luck to you with Lacuna Botanicals. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to know. I'm sorry that we don't have enough time to get, because from what I understand, I know you do more than massage, the deep tissue massage cream. And I would love maybe the next time, for us to talk more about everything else that you, all your other products. That would be great.
Sure. Yeah, a couple of things, Maria. I'm sure, you're going to probably, well, you do already. You get tons of questions from your viewers. So, a couple of ideas that I thought might be kind of fun is if you want to just kind of take down whatever questions come out of these discussions and save them down, and you wanted to have a follow-up, just a Q&A type of thing where we went back and answered any specific questions of your viewers.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so we could do something like that. And then the other thing that I really love to do is have you come out to the farm and visit us out here in Colorado and get to kind of see and try everything.
Road trip. We're there.
Do a road trip. Yeah, I think that would be a heck of a lot of fun, and it would be nice to see you out here.
Yes, be great, Chris. Thank you for that invitation. And we need to talk about that. So,
Yeah, I think people. I think people would like it, right? If they could see sort of a behind the scenes tour of the farm and how we do all of our stuff, and we do some interesting
right.
things that people like. We use it to cook a lot. We view it very much as a culinary type of thing, and that is something we're working on as a culinary line. But just being around us, and we use the plants for salads, and we make pestos.
I just want to smell it.
It smells delicious. It's really,
I
really.
know. I mean, no, don't. I don't want to give my viewers the wrong impression because I don't. But I just love the way it smells. I love plants. I'm a nature person. I like to be outdoors, so I really just want to be there. So we're gonna take you up on that, Chris. I hope you mean that.
Absolutely, yeah. Come on out.
Well, thank you, Chris. I really thank you again for your time. Thank you for explaining, and thank you to all our viewers for taking the time to, hear what we have to say and for allowing us to share with you. Thank you very much, Chris.